Presenting the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame ring tonight to Peter Starr is the co-founder of the world's first motorcycle magazine for women, an accomplished author and motorcycling ambassador, and the only woman to finish 3 motorcycle cannonballs. Chris Summer Simmons, Hall of Fame member.
Peter Starr, in recognition of your commitment to showcase the fun, excitement, and practicality of motorcycling through film and television to countless riders and non-riders alike, it is my great honor to induct you into the American Motorcyclist Association Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Wow, is this surreal or what? On the way up here, I was thinking, this is not on the script, but I got to tell you this. As I was walking up here, I had this vision of Arlo Guthrie riding a motorcycle over the mountain, down into the canyon, and as he was falling down, he looks up to the sky and he sees the clouds. The clouds part, and God puts his hand out with a pickle in it. And Arlo sings, I don't want a pickle. I just want to ride my motorcycle. Right? Now, why I thought of that, I have absolutely no idea. But except if you've ever seen Take It to the Limit, there's a little bit of it in there. I've been allocated 4 minutes to thank so many people throughout my motorcycle career that have contributed to make this honor possible. An impossible task, to say the very least, because making a movie, any movie, is made possible only through the efforts of others who play a part on your team. Yes, just like being a racer who is to win a race, a filmmaker does have to have the vision to drive the project to completion. But also like a racer, there are a lot of people in that support team. And certainly I'm not up here because of my racing prowess, as anyone who raced against me can attest. But having raced internationally in the early 60s, it did stand me in good stead for the career in motorcycling that I chose that brought me here tonight. I want to thank a number of people. And first, I want to thank W.L. Robertson, the man at Triumph Engineering in Meriden who hired me in 1961. He encouraged my passion for motorcycling and motorcycle racing while trying to make me an executive. Go figure. Next is Bud Eakins, who became a friend of mine in 1961 when he came to Triumph for the ISDT events. He also encouraged me and supported me to move to America in 1965. We remained friends until his passing 10 years ago. To Marvin Foster of Hodaka and Fred Williams of Pennzoil, who sponsored my first motorcycle film, The Bad Rock, in 1973. I met Marvin when I was trying to sell him sponsorship in a song about dirt bike riding. I was a record producer at A&M Records at the time. In turn, he convinced me to give up record production in Hollywood to make this movie about the ISDT event, and that career was started. Dix Erickson, who ran Honda's Special Projects Department, who opened up the manufacturing facility to allow me to build several camera bikes. These bikes were used in the making of many of my films, with me as a stunt rider in such films as Lethal Weapon 3 and Apollo 13 and Batman and Robin and many, many more over a 10-year period. Dix in particular taught me to be a better fabricator and machinist. My father, Les, was a toolmaker in Coventry in England. And any time I would make a mistake at Dix's shop in Honda, he would say, Les is watching you. You can do better than that. My father passed away before that episode, so he was referencing to my dad looking down from above. Dan Gurney and I have known each other for 40 years. And I met him because I made a film called The All-American Race about Gary Scott's 1975 championship-winning year. One of Dan's young employees thought that the title was a little too close to their company name, All-American Racers. And because of that, Dan and I met, and we've been friends ever since. He and Phil Remington built my first camera bike in 1980, and that became the first bike ever to carry a film camera during an AMA National Road Race. That race was at Laguna Seca with David Emdy as the rider. I also rode one of Dan's first alligator feet forward motorcycles, and that was a unique experience to say the least. I want to thank Mike Vaughan, who at the time I met him was director of marketing at Kawasaki. And to this day, he still says that Take It to the Limit was the best motorcycle movie ever made. He's been one of my biggest supporters over the years. I've cherished his friendship. And Mike, thanks for your support. John Rao and Neil Leventhal at Honda, who supported my goals in making the Freddie Spencer movies and several others. David Martin, the then head of corporate media at Stroh Brewery, who after 3 years of badgering by me, actually agreed to sponsor the vision I had about bringing mild dirt track racing onto television, and together we created the Stroh Miles. Rod Gould and Mike Harewood. I've been asked many times which of my films I favor, and there really is no honest answer, except they all had their trials and tribulations that make them unique. But the Mike Harewood story of how he returned to the Isle of Man in September of 1977 after a 10-year layoff was particularly rewarding. In 1977, I had no ending for Take It to the Limit. Rod Gould, a friend of mine who ran Yamaha's European PR department, asked me, what if you had your druthers? What would you do? I said I would travel back in time to 1967 and film Mike Harewood, who was a hero of mine, in the Isle of Man the last time he raced there. Well, 3 weeks later, Rod called me up and he said, when do you want to do it? Well, we English have a phrase, it's called gobsmacked. And I was. And in September 77, Harewood made his return to the island on a Yamaha OW31 with a special fairing built by Kel Carruthers containing a film camera, portable video, by the way, had never been invented at that time and was several years after that before it became useful. And Mike, having the camera on the front of the bike and wearing a microphone in his helmet, talked his way around that racetrack he'd not been on in 10 years. We got the film, the movie had a climax, but it never had an ending. I want to thank Chris Nugent and Paul Clipper, who packaged me and submitted my information for this nomination at different times. And their tenacity has been rewarded. Thank you, guys. It's most appreciated. In my book, Take It to the Limit, 20 Years of Making Motorcycle Movies, I credited everyone who I could remember who helped in the making of the 40-odd films I made about motorcycle racing. For me, it was a very exciting and satisfying part of my life, and I'm so grateful for being honored this way. And I thank everybody involved in that process. Thank you so much. As many of you know, I've become an advocate for the natural healing of prostate cancer. I'm a 13-year survivor without surgery, drugs, or radiation. And I want to thank everybody in this industry who supports my foundation and the outreach program that I'm actively pursuing within the motorcycle community. Part of my recovery program and part of what my foundation teaches is to lead a purposeful life. And part of building that purposeful life for me was to ride in 10 countries in 5 years with some of the greatest people I've ever known in my entire life. It's the subject of my next book. But during those rides, I discovered phrases used by locals when addressing the vagaries and uncertainties of life. I'm sure you've heard, life is uncertain, eat dessert first. It's a very popular one. Now, as I give cancer speeches, literally in Europe and through America, and most recently in Asia, I close my speeches with, enjoy life. It has an expiration date. Thank you.